Hey, how's everyone doing? My name's Kurt. I'm Dad Who Draws, and this is Monday Afternoon Live. We always get together every Monday afternoon and do a landscape usually. Today I have a special treat. I'm going to draw with you a sailboat, and I'm going to share with you a trick, or it's not a secret way, not a secret way, it's my way of drawing a person in a sailboat. Okay, so let's take a look at that here. Let me get my screen shared here so you can see what I'm going to be working on with you. If you're not part of our Facebook group, I would recommend that you join it. There's a great community of artists there that you're able to get references to the pictures that we draw. You could post your work, get feedback, and it's an amazing group of people. So I would recommend that. That's down in the link below. And I also have down in the description below, a link for our dedicated student membership. That's only $9.99, $9.98 a month, 20 hours of live instruction just like this. But the key is we get together a little bit every single day for about half an hour to 40 minutes, and we hit all different subject matters, from natural things to man-made things, portrait drawing, character design, and then animals on Friday. So you can find that link in the description as well. And that's it. So let's jump right into it. And let me show you immediately the idea of drawing a person, especially if they are in a sailboat or a little bit in the distance. So typically you could get away with this idea of drawing a silhouette of a person. So let's talk about that. Let's say this is the height. This is the top and the bottom of a silhouette. If you divide this directly in half, you'll find general human proportions to be that the head would be up here, of course. Then we're going to get the upper torso. All right, there's the upper torso. Here's the lower torso. And then usually the legs are the second half of the body. So the body can actually be divided directly down the center in halves. And so this really helps you to get the idea of lengths. Now this is the average body height, all right? The other thing I want you to realize that when you go to draw a silhouette of a person, I usually like to start off, what is the main upper torso doing? Okay, and I like to represent oftentimes with just a simple block of some sort, all right? And then what you want to do is you want to very carefully observe where the head is. See, you don't want to put the head dead center. You may end up pushing the head off to the side here. See, this shows me that the person's leaning in. If you look at our example here, you see that happening. You'll see it happening. The head is leaning to the right. You see that? And that tells us a lot of different information. That he's leaning one way, and now look at this, he's wearing a hat. So if you just were to add a little bit of a brim, you could get an idea that his head is looking off to the left while he's leaning to the right. These are the small details we want to look at. So I say the key thing when you're drawing people, especially when they're in a silhouette form, is get the upper body, get the main core, upper body and lower body, okay? Look to where the arms are, all right? And then observe carefully where the head's going to fall. And this is going to tell a lot of movement without you having to worry about trying to get your people down perfectly, okay? Let's go ahead and draw this sailboat. And when we get to the men, we will be very careful to make sure that we use these things so it really sells it. Okay? All right, let's do this. Delete that there. And I am live, so if you have if you have any questions, by all means, just throw them in the chat and I will be happy to answer them for you. All right? Let's go ahead and start off with a square. This is more of a rectangle. And, you know, one of the things is, since we try and draw a full drawing here in less than 40 minutes or so, you want to make sure that you're not making this too big. All right, you want to don't draw like a full 8.5 by 11. This is here's a pad of paper I have, and this is like, I think 5 by 7. It might be a little bit bigger than that, but I wouldn't go much bigger. Look, it's about the size of my head. You can even just kind of like measure your box the size of your hand. Keep it this size, and you should be able to complete this within the next 40 minutes. If you go bigger than that, it will take you a little bit longer. So, and you can just go through this one exercise with me at this size, and then you can always go back and redraw it larger if you want. All right, so let's go ahead and get some major places of measurement here. So first, let's look at our horizon line and draw this horizon line really light. All right. All right. Nice horizon line there. And then we've got this line of trees, and you know, I'm gonna give just a little bit of an edge to these trees so that they're not perfectly level. So a lot of times when I'm drawing, one of the things I really like to do is sometimes not focus on the object, but focus on the negative shape. I don't know why, but that really does help me get my proportion right. So, for example, the negative shape of this side, look at this, would be this sky area here. You see this? That shape right there, all right? Let's put that into our picture here. And I'm just going to go light here because we'll make some adjustments. All right, so I got that. All right, let's jump to the other side now. And it's kind of coming in here, and we could just roughly put in this shape here. Look at that. This will force me to make sure my sailboat is big enough, is really filling the space. Okay, look at this now. Look at the water here. We could even do something like that. Look at that negative shape. Let's put that in. So much easier, right? All right, so we're gonna come in here like this. I'm just sounds like my neighbor next door is lighted off some firecrackers, so forgive me for that. All right, we got that negative shape in there. All right, let's look at this one here. Here's another good one. Look at this. Okay, that's going to kind of get us a quick rough of the bottom of this boat. So let's put that one in. Keep this light, okay? All right, I'm going right along the water here. Look at this. This is coming all the way in like this. All right, so look at this. Look at this shape right here. It's just a good technique sometimes to easier for you to see shape sometimes versus getting all worried about getting all the dimensions and everything. Be careful of this one thing I just noticed. This is, Here's the corner of the boat. Make sure the corner of your flag is going to be out a little bit further, okay? Oop. Well, look at that. Look what I've done. I've drawn right on the same layer as my picture. So hold on here. I'll have to make a slight adjustment. All right, we're back. Okay, so hopefully at this point you have these different shapes marked in, and so this isn't perfect, but it's definitely going to give me a basis to start now move in from a gesture, which this is more of a gesture, into more construction. Okay, so let's immediately jump into our sailboat here, and I want to look at this. That corner is my starting point. Okay, so if I look at my, let's put a little thing here and get this right there. Okay, so I'm going to say that corner is right about there. And you know, a sailboat is like this sailboat is like this, but it's turning away from us, right? So let's just come here, like get a nice slight curve. If I go too fast, just ask me to slow down here, okay? Nice slight curve. Man, I did it again. Hold on here. Get a little extra time right now. All right, let's come over here. Put this to the level above it. Okay, so where were we? There's my corner. There's my bow. All right, over here, I'm going to be right about there. And then okay, there we are, right about there. All right, let's go. Let's keep going here. Now this right here is going to turn a corner, and this is going to be our bow of our boat. And now the lighting is such that we can't quite see it, but I know just from experience it's going to be something like that. Okay, so let's put that in there. Let's come back here with a slight angle downward and very lightly, very lightly. Okay. Let's jump to the bow now, and this bow is crashing in through the water, so we're kind of looking at that angle right there. Let's do that. And then this we'll put the waves in when we're done, but this is at least just the construction. This is what we could see above the water here. So let's get that in as well. Just keep it light. All right, this mast is in very clear view. So look at this. This mast is coming in right there. And then in our picture, it's going to be the tip is right up there. You see that? So let's go ahead and put that mark in. And I'm going to be careful here. Then I'm going to push it forward just a little bit. And then I'm going to bring it to the top of my page like this. Now, here's something that you can do, and feel free to do this. You know, if the angle of my page right now is I'm gonna have to go up with my arm movement. But I know that I can draw a much straighter line if I go across and draw from my elbow. So if you already know where your line's going to start, you know where your line's going to end, feel free just to turn your sketchbook. Turn your paper, spin it all the way around to where you can draw across. So here we go. And when I draw a straight line, I usually put where my pencil is going to start, and then I put my eyes where I want it to go. All right, so here we go. All right, and you can get a pretty straight line. So now I'm going to spin my paper back around, and look at that beautiful looking mast. All right. Now let's get this man in place here, okay? So let's break him down just a little bit. All right. So this is where my mast is going to start. And I can see that his upper body starts here, and I'm going to go up, across, and I'm not going to draw his head yet, but it has a little bit of an angle. You see that? And the other thing I want to be aware of, look at the proportion now. Look at this. This distance right there is almost equal to this distance. You see that? So let's use that to our advantage. So I'm gonna move over just a little bit. That's one side of him. It's gonna be at halfway. All right, now I'm gonna come up, across, and down. And I'm just going to go ahead and tone to give this whole thing a tone here. All right, let's erase that. Okay, now let's look at our picture here and look, really observe carefully what's going on here. So his head is about right there, and there's a bit of a curve there. You see that? And then he's wearing his hat. And then look at that. You could kind of see his left arm is dark in value, but then his shoulder starts light and then gets darker. You see that? And I probably made his left arm a little too big, but that's okay. I'll just roll with it. And I'm gonna add just a slight brim to this to really get the idea that he's turning his head and looking at the direction of where his where his sailboat's going to go. If you wanted to erase a little bit, like, oh, that's too big of an eraser there. You can come in here and just, I'm going to shave off just a little bit of his arm. There it goes. Okay, let's go ahead and get we've got the mast in. I think it's called the boom, but it's going to start right here. Look at this. And then it's going to come all the way out to there. You see that? Let's put that in. Nice line. Other thing I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit of tone to the back of this boat. This isn't the final value, but at least it will help my mind really kind of get a sense of construction, of seeing this thing has mass to it. All right, let's get the front end, the jib, I think it is, right? So the jib is going to start right about, it's going to end up right like that. And then the top of it is going to be right about there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spin my drawing here so I can get a nice line. All right. All right, now with the jib in place, I'm going to add some tone, just some first level of tone on these trees in the distance. And if you wanted to take your eraser, you could probably just lightly erase where those were coming in on your sail there. Okay, let's look at this now. Let's look at these. I don't know what these are called on a sail, but they're almost exactly even. You see that? So let's come up here, maybe to the top here. I'm just going to add a little bit of a tone. And it looks like there's one more on this jib here, right? Hey, hey, Edmund. How's St. Lucius today, my friend? How is St. Lucius today? Bet you guys have some strong winds. All right. Let's go ahead and draw some straight lines coming through here. There's one. Sunny and nice. Excellent. Is today a cruise ship day or is it an off day? Oh, that doesn't look quite right there. What did I do? I got carried away thinking of hanging out in St. Lucius. Oh, going to be a beach. Oh, you're going to the beach now. All right. That sounds pretty good to me. All right, I'm just going to come down here. It's a holiday today. Yes. Well, it's a holiday here in the United States. We're celebrating Memorial Day. What's the holiday there in St. Lucius? All right. Let's go ahead and add these lines here. These lines are White Monday. Cool. All right. I'm curious. I'm going to have to look that one up when we're done. All right, look at this. I'm going to come through here and just add some lines in the sail here. Edmund, do you sail? Can you run a sailboat? Catamaran or something? All right, then on this side. I used to, whenever we go on vacation, I always like to go to a place that they had windsurfers, and then they had these little mini Hobie, like Hobie crafts. Hobie. I used to work in the boatyard. Ah, excellent. Little mini catamarans. They were always. I love sailing. I love sailing. It's just fun. It's amazing when you're out there and you just think like, wow, the wind is doing all this. Okay, let's go ahead and add a little bit of a tone into this boat here. And that means I'm going to darken up the bow here just a bit. Okay, now let's look closely. Let's start thinking about this ocean here, because I squint my eyes and I can see that the picture is very bright on this side, but then as it gets over here, there's this slight gradation going on there. You see that? So let's work the bottom part here, and let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come in here with the edge there. Ooh, there's strict laws for boating down there. Really? Okay, now with that being said, not with what Marcus just said, with me adding those little waves there, let's go in now and add another darker value onto our trees. And look at the difference between the value of the hey Edmund, when you get down to the ocean for beach day, post a picture on your Facebook page so I can, or throw a post in our drawing group on Facebook so we can just say greetings from the beach or something like that. I'd love to see what you see from where you're at. Okay. I'm going to come in here now. This is going to be my tree, so All right, now let's get this ocean in. So this ocean, I'm just going to come in here on one side. I'm going to do it one even tone across, and I'll darken it as we go. But right now, I'm just going to add a general value. Yeah, we're heading off to see my cousin. We're gonna have a barbecue at her house. She lives up in the Pennsylvania woods. Okay, so now we've got some values in place, and this is looking pretty nice, I think, so far. Now let's come back in here with using surface lines and start to get some description of these waves. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm not gonna worry about value quite yet. I'm just gonna use surface lines to indicate that you know, the seas are a little bit on the choppy side here. And I'm going to put more lines on the right side here. Oh, you always have problems drawing the ocean. You know, if you think of a wave like this, and then decide where the light is coming from, and then I usually do something like this. You see? And if you then break that down a little bit more, you can do like this. Just keep thinking of light coming from one side of the wave. And then you can, and then you can come back in and start adding darker value. You can add a light overall value. I think the problem, what we have when we draw waves, is we go too fast. We draw them too fast. Okay, I'm going to go back in now with this boat and darken this boat up. But here's the thing is, let me show you this. When I'm going to get close to the bottom here, I'm going to try and add a little bit of a white edge. You see that? And the same thing over here. Now, I'm going to go a little bit darker here. But when I get to this wave, the top of these waves here, I'm going to kind of create this imaginary line. So it looks like there is foam or like sea spray. You see that? How do you make the foam? Hi, Kathleen. Cindy, how do you make the foam? Okay, let's take a look at that. That's a great question. So let's take a second and look at this here. let's talk about this area right here, okay? So I draw almost as if you were almost as if you were watercoloring, where I like to leave the white of my page. All right, I like to draw the negative. So in this case, here's my boat. I'm going to jump to the bow, and when I look closely here, I'm going to make sure there's a little bit of value right on my boat there. Okay, and then I'm going to jump to the water, but I'm going to leave just a little bit of the white of the page showing. So I keep thinking of blocks of value. Now, the other way you could do it, and probably it's much easier, you could just use your eraser if you wanted to. But you really get that foam when you add this the more contrast you could create, the whiter your foam is going to look. So I'm really trying to make sure my boat, the whole of my boat is the darkest value here. And then my ocean around it is going to be a little darker, is going to not quite as dark, but still. It's not quite as dark as the whole of the boat, but it's leaving little bits to suggest the foam. Now, if you were, so you might be able to get away with this, Cindy, by if you have a kneaded eraser. If you like need that eraser to be a teeny point, that you could do it that way as well. Okay, and just lift up some of the lead that the value that you've put down. All right. Okay, in the bottom here, I'm going to create some contrast by really darkening in these waves that are in the foreground. And I think this, I want also my sail in the back here to pop off. So I'm going to make sure that I darken, I'm going to darken the ocean in the background here a bit. It's a weird game of trying to get all your values to work together. One set is not as dark as others. One thing you might want to do also, I'll say this, don't feel bad for using a straight edge for this mast. if you can't get that line perfectly straight, by all means, look, here's a pad. You can't see it, but watch what I'm going to use this pad to get this line nice and straight here. That work? Oh, I don't like that one. Let's try it again. I'm going to do it by hand. I'm going to turn my paper here, and I'm just going to, look at that. I got the wrong color. Yeah. Use a ruler if you have to, because no one likes a crooked mast, right? Okay, we're gonna keep going here. So I'm gonna add a little bit more texture to this ocean for mine in the back. I'm not really sure what yours looks like, but okay, I think that looks pretty good. All right. All right, before we get the sail in here, let's add some tone. Let's get some of these clouds in here. We're just gonna keep it simple here, right? So I'm just going to slowly outline where these clouds are gonna go. Just the big shape here. Okay, now I'm going to come in here with a nice even tone, because the thing that I want the whitest on my page are these sails. And when I'm toning, I'm holding the back of I'm really holding the back of my pencil here. So I'm trying to get a very even tone in the whole background here. Well, you're in Pasadena. It's my alma mater, Kathleen. You're at Art Center. I haven't been there in years. All right, I'm coming in here now, making some variation in these clouds there. I've told this story many times, but it just kind of just shows you how sometimes we can be quite naive in our younger years. But I had there's if you do a Google search for an instructor by the name of Bern Hogarth, he's written a number of anatomy books. And he has a very distinct style of anatomy. And when I was at school, I took an anatomy class, and there was this guy who was teaching the class, was a burly fella. He was short but very stocky, and he had a very traditional, very classic pencil mustache, almost like, you know, like sometimes Walt Disney from that era. I'm not that old, but he was, you know, he seemed to be from like that period. Anyways, and I just was not, back in the day, I just was not disciplined. I just didn't have the passion like I do now for drawing, and I just didn't work hard enough at it. Anyways, so I had this guy, and he was definitely really good at what he did, and I just thought he was a crotchety old man. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't till the last day of the semester that someone came in with a Tarzan comic book. I mean, one of the original early versions of Tarzan. And guess who was the artist? It was Bern Hogarth. And only at that moment did I realize that after an entire 12 weeks, I had Bern Hogarth as an instructor, and it finally clicked on me of the opportunity that I had slipped through my fingers because I did not take it seriously. Well, needless to say, it makes for a good story as we're sitting here drawing sailboats, right? Anyways, one of those little things in life that you youthful ignorance, I suppose, came into play, but nonetheless, I get to say I was taught by Bern Hogarth. What I learned, I don't know, but at least he taught me. All right, so there we've got I've kind of added a little bit of tone in for those skies, right? And we're at 52 minutes. So last thing we can do, let's add some shadow to this, to our sailboat here, okay? So I'm just gonna come in here. I'm going to follow the pattern a little bit that I see in the sails here. I know. Oh, it's a good story, right? It's a good story. How many other artists have I met? There's only one other famous one I've ever met. And once again, I'm embarrassed by at the moment not realizing Hogarth. Bern Hogarth, that's the man. That is the man. I have a good artist story. I don't think I've ever told this one. And this came later after I'd already graduated. I had emailed, now let me just think of his name. Oh, I have to look this one up. Let's see here. Last story for today. Oh, I just thought of it. I just knew who it was. The artist. Yes, I'm sure you did. You can get those. He's the man. Can you believe it, Edmund? So, here's another one. Drew Struzan. Now, some of you may not know who Drew Struzan is, but Drew Struzan made his living by painting classic movie posters. In fact, if you were a big Star Wars fans and of course Indiana Jones and all that stuff, Drew Struzan painted all of those movie posters. Well, I was always a big fan of Drew's, and I emailed him one day thinking that he would never email me back, but he did. And I was looking for inspiration. And he sent me this really nice email, and I really appreciated it. And we talked about Art Center, and he says, "Oh, too bad. You should have, if I would have known you were there, you could come and visit at my studio." But of course, I was younger and scared and didn't know what I was doing. Sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing, but nonetheless. So, yeah, I have an email from him that was so nice, and I framed it, and I just actually found it this morning. So Drew Strusen, go check that out if you want. But it was Bernhogard, Drew Strusen, and of course, Keith Haring. There, go check out Keith Haring. And maybe next time we get together, I'll tell you that story. I've said it before, but it's a good one as well. All right. Hey, listen, my name is Kurt. I'm Dad Who Draws. And Edmund, always great to hear how you're doing. And Kathleen chimed in. And Cindy, hopefully I was helpful to you. Have a great day, everyone. And if you're in the United States, happy Memorial Day. And for Edmund, what'd you call it? It was called White Monday. All right. Go out there. Make your day great, everyone. Oh, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Throw a comment in there, okay? All right. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.